What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterback free agent situation. What are we going to do? Obviously, Anthony expected to go into the year as a starter, but there is also expected to be competition. Now, we've already gone over a bit of the roster. I think Jason Bean is going to be here one way or another. I think we're going to take 4 quarterbacks into the season just like we did this past year. I think we'll have 4. Obviously, the third one being the emergency quarterback, and then you keep one guy on the practice squad, and how that situation work out. But here's kind of where I want to go with it, because I want to start getting your guys' feedback, right? And we're going to do the video, we're going to have the conversation, and then I'm going to put a poll out, and I want you guys to react with the poll that I put out right on the community post, and I want you guys to let me know, both in the comments section and on the poll, hey, this is where I'm thinking I want to go with this, and from the choices I'm laying out. Okay, there are different things that I've heard people talking about, different ways that I've seen people go with this. So I want to go through position by position, by everything that we need, and really go through this and get your guys' opinion, right? And we're going to have polls on all this stuff. All right. So starting out here, right, the four, one of the we're going to mention 4 quarterbacks again, and we're going to start with Marcus Mariota. This may be my favorite, right? This might be my favorite because we're talking about if we have to go to the backup, like if Anthony doesn't work out and we have to go to the backup, like of all the choices in free agency, like we're not winning the Super Bowl anyways, right? Anthony needs to develop and work out with everything that he's capable of. He has to. But when you're talking about quarterback competition, you talk about bringing in a veteran that can put real pressure on him, a guy that can come in and run Shane's offense, right? Has been around football long enough. He's played a lot of football, college and in the NFL. A lot of football Marcus Mariota's played. And different points in his career, he's played at a really high level. Obviously, it hasn't been consistent enough to make him a starter. But I just think when you look at where he's gone, I think he's a good veteran presence. Obviously, with the Eagles in 2023, that ends up not working out for him. I think he went there mid-season anyways. Don't really remember the Eagles situation. I know at the end of their season last year didn't finish well, which obviously wasn't great. But you look at the Commanders and bringing in Marcus Mariota behind Jaden Daniels, I think early on, as Jaden Daniels, right after he got drafted, and you bring him in, Marcus Mariota, like I think early on, there was competition until everybody realized, like, oh, this dude's different. And Jaden probably felt some of that competition until he got used to the players that he was around and started making plays in camp, and then got that confidence and really started to separate himself, and obviously has made it to the NFC Championship because he's a great quarterback. But that competition, right? The feeling of, hey, there's this veteran quarterback behind me that has played a lot of football. Like, I can't mess up. Like, if I falter here, I'm going to mess up. And a lot of guys do. Not everybody can handle that. So I think bringing in Marcus Mariota to be behind Anthony Richardson would be maybe my favorite move that we could make at the backup quarterback position, because looking elsewhere, like, of course, the other names that we're going to talk about here, Justin Fields. Okay, this is a guy that's going to be entering free agency for the first time. Will he want to go somewhere where he can be a backup? When he was the quarterback of the Steelers, they were winning games. It wasn't always pretty. It was like Justin Fields, clearly some things to work on. He's not the perfect quarterback, but nonetheless, the Steelers were winning. And obviously, Russell Wilson comes in. They win enough that they keep Russell Wilson in, but at the end of the year with Russell Wilson, they fall apart. Does that happen with Justin Fields? I don't know. And so I think Justin Fields is going to go to a place like this. Draft isn't crazy with quarterbacks, but there are a lot of pretty good quarterbacks in free agency. I think these teams are going to go out like Justin Fields going to the Raiders makes a lot of sense, right? Pete Carroll getting Justin Fields in there would be crazy if they got Russell Wilson, which is not a guy that we're going to talk about here. But I don't know if Justin Fields is going to be an option, because Justin Fields doesn't want to be a backup. Like he did that in Pittsburgh, and he played the team guy game, and obviously him and Russell have a good relationship. We at least saw that publicly, and so I just think Justin Fields obviously would fit the offense, but like, is he a better option? How much better of an option is he than Anthony Richardson? Maybe the experience that he has obviously plays into it. But, you know, the same issues AR has, Justin Fields has. And hopefully, again, AR is just able to figure it out so that we don't have to worry about that. But I just don't see Justin Fields being an option because Justin Fields doesn't want to be an option in this kind of situation, which is the same thing for Sam Darnold. You look at a guy just got paid $10 million for one season for the Vikings. He won a bunch of games, and he only had 5 games under 100 quarterback rating, and 2 of those games, the very end. When you think so, altogether, of course, he played 18 games when you factor in the playoff game, but those were 2 of his worst games of the year when you look at it statistically. Now in the Rams, not completely on him, 62.5%. Like, it wasn't a terrible game. 62.5%, 245, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Now, of course, the issue in that game was that he was getting pressured. And that was the issue in the Lions game, where in the Lions he did have his worst game of the season, where he went 43.9%, 166, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So 2 of the biggest games of the year. Obviously he's getting rocked, but unable to figure it out. Now, when you think about the other like possible biggest game of the year, at least for him, think about him against the Jets. Okay, and it was at home in Minnesota. It wasn't even in New York. It was just against the Jets. Everything that happened in his career with that team comes out, and he goes, the Jets were a dumpster fire. He goes 45.2%, 179, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then look up at the Jaguars, one of his worst quarterback ratings of the season, 63.2% completion, 241 yards, but 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Like, just an ugly day for Sam Darnold. So he still has that in him. Now, he has, again, out of 18 games, 5 of them were under 100 quarterback ratings. So the other 13 very good. He's got Kevin O'Connell calling the plays. We've seen over the years, doesn't really matter the quarterback. Kevin O'Connell's going to dial it up, and they're going to be able to put points on the board because they also have Justin Jefferson. They also have Jordan Addison. They have TJ Hawkinson. Like, very quarterback friendly offense. Now, I think our offense is pretty quarterback friendly. So, you bring in a guy like Sam Darnold, it's obviously not at the same level as Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but I think Alec Pierce's development really elevates our wide receiver room a lot when you think about Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs being there. A.D. Mitchell has depth. Anthony Gould has depth. Obviously, you got to figure out the tight end position, but offensive line solid for the most part. A lot of young guys, and it won't be perfect, but that Minnesota has got to be. We're going to be better than that Minnesota offensive line was this past season. That Minnesota offensive line really cost them in the end. It just seemed like through the season it would, and it ended up. So it's not all on Sam Darnold. There's a case to be made that, like, where they faltered, it's not Sam Darnold's fault. So there's a realistic possibility, hey, the Colts want to look at him, bring in competition, bring in a guy that just won 14 games for another franchise. But if you bring Sam Darnold in, it's almost at some point expected for Sam Darnold to take over because the success that he had and the lack of success that AR has had. It would just be expected. So going forward with that, again, Sam Darnold just won 14 games. He was in the MVP talks the whole season, right, until he faltered at the end. And so I just think at the end of the day, he's going to be another guy looking for a starter job. He's not interested in being a backup, so he's not going to seriously consider coming here as a backup. Now, you can't, because you can't throw too much money at him. That's where this conversation goes, is money in our cap situation. You can't throw a bunch of money at a quarterback and not play him, right? And he just got $10 million and way overperformed. He's going to look to make that up somewhere at a very quarterback needy team. We're not very quarterback needy. We're very competition needy. And so I think Sam Darnold not in the running. I don't think Justin Field is in the running. But of course, I don't have any inside information. They could very easily, Justin Fields very easily could just end up in a backup role, right? Teams don't want him as a starter. Hey, we want to pay you backup money to be a backup, put competition, or come and have a quarterback competition, right? That could just be who Justin Fields is now. So he could definitely be an option. I just don't know if he will want to be. And I guess, of course, none of these guys want to be backups. So, that conversation could be moot. But nonetheless, Justin Fields, if you guys want Justin Fields, don't be afraid to let me know. If you want Sam Darnold, don't be afraid to let me know. I just don't know if there'll be options for us. The other guy, and this one was a toss-up. As I was looking through the list, I thought, man, Jameis Winston, people talking about Jameis, and I'd be cool with that. Like, that's going to be incredible content to cover, having him in the building. And I do think you can put competition there, but I think he's more of a stable, I think everybody knows he's more of a stable backup at this point. For as high as he'll take it, like he'll throw you as many touchdowns as he will interceptions. That's just what he does. That's what he does, right? So it'll be exciting, but I think that honestly the better option would be Tyler Huntley coming in as quarterback, somebody you can get for very cheap as a quarterback option. And again, this is a guy is going to be a backup, but somebody that can put competition there. And this might even just be more of a filler, right? You could even bring in, if we could bring in Marcus Mariota and Tyler Huntley, that would be incredible, right? But at the end of the day, I think Tyler Huntley is a guy that if you can't get the other guys, you're talking about a fourth guy. Hey, you throw him in there and it makes sense. He can run the same offense, right? Overall, he can run the exact same offense that Anthony's already running. He has the mobility. Obviously, he's not as freakishly athletic, but he's also been in the NFL for a while, right? Came into the league in 2020s, was with the Ravens, very good franchise. He was with them for a little while. And then in 2024, was with 3 different teams from the Browns to the Ravens, and then landed with the Dolphins for most of the season. And again, very cheap. That's where this goes. Sam Darnold going to warrant a decent contract. Justin Fields could very easily warrant a decent contract, and we have other holes to fill. That's why I just don't want to spend too much money on a backup quarterback. And then you have Marcus Mariota. One reason I really like him, look at his last couple seasons, right? He ends up with the Falcons, 2 years, annual per year was $9.375 million. Coming in, quarterback competition, they didn't have things figured out there. And of course, everything was just bad in Atlanta. Still is. They bring in Kirk Cousins. Still not great there in Atlanta. Then with the Eagles, again, last year comes in at some point. I don't know what week he joined them, but had 1 year, $5 million. Then you look at with this year with the Commanders, spent the entire season with them as a backup to Jaden, and has 1 year, $6 million. And if that's the range that we're talking about, like if Marcus Mariota, you give him, 1 year, look at his guarantees over the past couple years. With the Eagles, it was fully guaranteed. With the Commanders, almost fully guaranteed, $5.39 million, fully guaranteed of the $6 million. And then, so if we're looking at our situation, the salary cap going up, you go 1 year, $7 million. And if it has to be more, then go a little more, right? You take the base salary up, right? If you're in competition with other teams to get Marcus Mariota and you think this is your best option to put pressure on your quarterback and to still have a safe option if your number one quarterback either gets injured, which he has shown that will happen, or if he doesn't perform and we need to try to win football games, bring Marcus Mariota in. Hey, $12 million contract, $6 million of it's going to be guaranteed, and then we're going to give you incentives on playing time, how many games do you start, and things like that. If he ends up having to be the starter, have things contingent on him being the starter, so that he can get more money, right? Some escalators in his contract. I think that's something that we could look into. And these are the guys that we're talking about, right? And again, I'll put a poll out, but you guys let me know down in the comment section what you're thinking. I'm thinking of all the free agents. We have Marcus Mariota, Justin Fields, Tyler Huntley, Sam Darnold. And if you guys feel strongly enough about Jameis Winston over Tyler Huntley, let me know in the comment section, and I'll put Jameis in the poll. That's a guy that same situation as Marcus Mariota here. You're not going to have to pay him a whole bunch of money. It's going to be a decent amount, but you're not going to pay him a whole bunch of money, and you're still going to have money elsewhere to be able to pay for all the different holes on the roster. So you guys let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section. Love to hear from you guys. I'll put that poll out very shortly. Probably do that later this afternoon. And so continue to see what you guys think, and we'll have more videos about this in the future. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Going to continue to go through all the different positions, all the different needs that we have, and have these same conversations. Going to want to know what you guys are thinking along the way. And of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.